Hi guys, it's Mr. Baba here. It's time for a new headphone review. These ones are a portable planar headphone. I've had these for about 3 months. I bought them from a local store in Finland. I bought them with the Cipher Cable, which includes DAC and an amp and an EQ app. Also, it has some remote controls and a mic, and the pair falls flat. You can check the prices are something like $450 to $500 and the same in euros basically. My background, I've done some mixes lots, and I've played guitar and drums, and I listen to lots of rock and metal and hip hop and pop music also, and some acoustic, and I'm a bit of a headphone freak. I have lots of different full-sized headphones and portable pairs. Okay, let's talk about the Audeze SINE. The build quality. They're made of sturdy metal, and there's some leather on the headband and on the outside of the cups. The pair is quite heavy. I don't quite understand why there's no leather on the ear pads. The cable output is pretty smart. It doesn't touch your shoulders or anything like that. But it could be hard to find a replacement cable. The looks. How do the Audeze SINEs look? They were designed by BMW Design Works. These are basically a fashion headphone also. They're not all about the sound quality and comfort. And the black color is always a good and safe choice. It's very understated, but kind of cool looking in my opinion. It looks a little bit like something from the new Batman movies, like the headphones that would fit the Batmobile, etc. It's a nice design. Accessories. Basically, the biggest problem is that these do not have a case. There is a pouch, but it doesn't really protect the headphones as well as it should. But I've heard that Audeze's own EL8 case fits pretty well with the SINEs also. There's 2 cables when you order them with this Cipher Cable. The standard 3.5 and the one with the lightning connection. The comfort. This is a bit hairy. It's not the best. They're not as good as like Sennheiser Momentum or something like that. But I think it got somewhat better after use. Maybe my ears got used to them, or I just found a good place to set them on my ears. I have to wonder, why did Audeze make this model sit on your ear and not over your ear? It would be much more comfortable, in my opinion, to have an over-ear model. And these are pretty heavy when walking around. They move a lot, and you have to have them sit tightly on your head. You have to adjust the headband to get a tight fit so they don't move. The ear pads are not quite as thick as I would want. It would be a good update to release some fatter pads, like maybe V-Modus XL pads. Some people have tried the Audio-Technica MSR7 pads, and I hear they've had good results. The isolation, it's not the best. Actually, I prefer a little bit more when out in the traffic and stuff like that. The Momentum and especially my Focal Spirit Pro are much better in this regard. Okay, let's talk about the really important stuff, that's the sound quality. These are very, very clean and crisp. These are actually the only portable headphone I also use at home because of the sound quality. These are surprisingly neutral. I could easily mix with these. The transients, meaning the first hit of a drum or a guitar plucking, etc. Those are very clean and easily heard. The bass. It's really tight, but there's not a huge amount. But the bass guitar and kick drum are very cleanly presented. They do not have the most slam or punch, but the provided EQ helps here that you get with the cable, the Cipher cable. It's not really for bass heads, it's more of a neutral headphone. The mid-range. The mids are strong in the mix, not really like V-shaped. There's not much of a bass boost or a highs boost. There's a lot of mids. The EQ helps here a lot. Vocals are very easy to hear precisely, and maybe because of this I listen to lots of vocals and lyrics. Maybe even more than before because of this. It's very easy to hear what the vocalist is saying. Guitars sound just great. That's all about. Guitars are all about the mids, and they're really punchy and clear and all that. The highs. They're quite precise, clean and not fatiguing. But some people have said that they find the highs too hot or something. I don't really get it. I think it's maybe because the upper mids are so strong, or the mids all over. Let's talk about the cable that's only made for Apple products. It has a lightning connection and it's pretty great, and it provides a few decibels of bass boost, which is nice in the noise of traffic, and it gives out lots of volume from my iPhone 5S and iPad Mini 4. Most of the time 50% is plenty, especially with modern music, which is mastered pretty hot. There might be some better portable amps on the market, but I don't think they're nearly as convenient. There is one downside with the Cipher cable. It is a bit heavy, and it's a flat cable, and the piece with the amp and DAC, it's pretty heavy, but it's not too bad. In my opinion, the Sines do need some sort of amping. They're not very good straight from out of a phone. You might not get enough volume, and the sound is not as good. Okay, Audeze LCD-2. I have an older model. It's from 2010. Some say the Sines are like mini LCD, but I don't think so. Sound-wise, the biggest difference is the sound stage. It's much bigger on the LCD, much bigger. There's also much more punch in the sub-bass region, and more sizzle up in the treble region. There might not be as much mids on the LCD, but the quality is very good there too. The LCDs basically they are larger and heavier, and there is a good reason. They simply sound better. I've heard the new phaser models also, but I'm not quite convinced. I like my old pair a lot better. They have this smooth and relaxing sound to them, and yeah, I've made my choice. Okay, Sennheiser Momentum compared to the Sines. The Sennheisers are much more comfortable. They have these very nice lambskin pads, and they're lighter on your head, much lighter. But the Momentums have this sound signature that is very, very warm, and the highs can sound kind of muted, and the bass can be sloppy, and there might be too much mid-bass focus, especially without amping. The mids are nice on both the Sines and Momentum, but they are much less upfront on the Momentums. Actually, nowadays I only use the Momentums with my FIO E7 amp, because they seem to benefit lots from extra amping. They're not the best straight from a phone. Focal Spirit Pro versus the Sine. The Focals, they are a full-sized pair, and they surely are not as pretty. But even though I mostly use them portably, the sound signature is much closer to the Sines than the Momentums were. These have even more present upper mids and transients. These are really not for bass heads. These are maybe way too flat, much too flat. These have basically a very good and flat frequency response for mixing also, a bit like the Sines. But there is a small problem that the Focals have highs that are maybe a bit too rolled off. All over, the Focals are not quite as clear when you need to hear details in the mix. The Focals have a very tight clamp, but the pads are much softer than the Sines. Some people have said that the Focals are just too uncomfortable for them, but I think they're pretty much on par with the Sines. A slight bass boost actually helps with the Focals a lot in a noisy environment, in my opinion. I think the Sines have the sound and the design to justify the price, even though some might say €500 or $500 is just too much. And I think this pair is not made for those people. You really have to appreciate the quality of sound you get from the Audeze Sines. There is still lots of room for improvement from Audeze, especially in comfort and isolation. But if you have the budget and the need for maybe the best resolving and even the most neutral portable headphone, then just get these. If you're looking for headphones for at-home use, I wouldn't buy these. Something like the Sennheiser HD600 is much better. They have much better comfort, and soundstage is on a completely different level because they're an open design. And at least here in Europe they're way cheaper too. So these are good for portable use, especially for Apple users. Alright, thanks for watching. Please comment below and like the video and all that stuff, and see you next time. Bye bye.